episode is sponsored by Teamhood, a modern project management system.
So cozy sofa.
Yes.
And we have people that were on the sofa once. I've been invited by you guys. So we have Raimundas and Yannick.
Hello.
Thanks for joining
Hey.
us. Yeah,
Hello.
it's interesting setup.
Yeah, we need to share a mic. So
That's all
we'll see
good.
how it works.
Yeah.
Well-
Try not to move it too much, because then the sound might be interesting.
We'll see how it
We'll
will
see.
work. Yeah. So we are in Agile Day Kaunas, and I wonder, some time passed, what was interesting for you guys? What have you learned, or anything specific that you would like to share?
Shall I start?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been mostly involved in open spaces today. I've not really done any of the workshops, but so far, great success. I think format is slightly different than last year, but I think it's better. Like, we have more sessions now. It's like half an hour per session. And I don't know, I've been pleasantly surprised with the topics. They've been fun. Very short bursts, but a lot of information. I think interesting ones like the polarity workshop was very nice. Polarity, so I either forget the first or the second name, but it's the polarity one. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun today. Okay. We also did our session, which was also pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
What was your session about?
We talked about, well, the name of was how can we help our clients to care about Agile. So in essence, we talked about, and we had a pretty good discussion of what are the boundaries of Agile team. And the premise was, let's say if you are creating a product, which is the example, like to just clarify, is like you have a client, because we are outsourcing company, we have a client and we're building a product which is for their internal system. Let's say we're digitizing some process or something, and you
Yep.
have, let's say, a direct contact, a stakeholder,
Yep.
and you don't have a clear way to the end users. And as an Agile team, you should care about value delivery. So you create your features, you bring your product, increment, and then you have nothing, because your stakeholder receives it, they signed off on it, but you have no idea has it reached your end users, you have no feedback, and it's a particular specific situation, but there are, I believe, variations of it where it's difficult to get that feedback, it's difficult to understand how is that value delivered. And then here's the question, so what are your responsibilities and boundaries of the Agile team, and specifically of Scrum Masters? So how far should the Scrum Master go? And we reached like a lot of different interesting discussions about culture clashes between companies, how deep you should go into that other company. There are things like organizing retros if you're with their counterparts in that other organization, aligning those cultures. You get glimpse of their internal politics, how far you should go in there, and you get everything from it all starts from sales, from value alignment. It's
Everything, basically.
Yeah, it's basically touching everything, and it's not that straightforward then, as you
And
know,
it's
you
not so
have-
simple,
It's
indeed.
not so simple,
No.
but it's also, it does happen. Those are really very real
I mean, even with
issues
the,
that we...
with the people we were there, like several,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, we have that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, so-
it's essentially like we do stuff, but how do you prevent like any input that we have that we give it and it just disappears into the void?
Yeah.
Like there's no, why are we doing this? Are we doing the right things? Are people happy with what we're doing? Like, was it okay? And then one person says, yeah, everything is fine, but then afterwards it's like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Also on the retro things, like let's assume you have a chance to do a retro with them internally, you make some action points, you assign some people, and then silence.
Yeah.
Did you do something with it? Did you understand
What's
the
wrong?
action?
What happened?
Exactly.
And similar.
So it's a very broad topic. Raimundas said even like on contractual basis and initial sales you can handle that, but it's really quite broad on like what your action points could be, and then how you as a Scrum Master could put yourself in the middle of that, and like, is it okay that you start actually coaching their internal processes while at the same time also handling your process with the team, and maybe there should be the same process, maybe it shouldn't be, and like the nuances of that.
But that's a really interesting topic of a perspective of how far the Scrum Master should go. Because we know that, and there are discussions, of course, around that. It's Scrum Master is not only around one team. It's about the area or the organization and working with that. But you are touching now Scrum Master and the client, maybe from your perspective, as I believe you're delivering software for clients that are actually organizations in some cases that are using the software.
Yes.
So whether we need to.
Yeah, you can imagine a much more simpler premise, which I also experienced. Like if you are creating something for your own company, and do you have that full buy-in from your stakeholders? Do you know who your stakeholders are? Do you does anybody care in your company that you're creating this new thing? That because now somebody will have to change the way they work.
Will they actually use it?
And will they actually use it? So these are similar, but I would say internally maybe it's much more simpler, but it's similar. It's like how to get that, like how to get people to care about your product and about your processes and how to align those things. So
the base problem is actually really simple. I don't know you. Why the hell should I listen to what you have to tell me?
Yeah.
As a Scrum Master then, because essentially you're talking to people that you've never met before, and they just have to kind of take it on trust that what you say is knowledgeable and that you know what you're talking about. And how do you deal with that? And then the explanation actually the discussion actually went really wide on that. I think even at some point we were discussing maybe put all of that in the contract. Is that a good idea or not? So it went pretty wide, which was actually a lot of fun.
Contracts are in general something very risky because they define very specifics how to operate or what to do, and
essentially ball and chain, right? As soon as the contract is set, budging from that, very quickly the door gets shut in your face, and it's done by that point.
Not too many choices. But I wonder if if you said that Scrum Masters potentially can go and work with clients' organization. What about product ownership? Because I mean, we in general create product,
Yes.
And we kind of need to do that, or.
Yes, and this goes directly into the product part also, so it's part of a discovery. And my advice and what I try to do is try to get to those end users as fast as possible. Again, this is and this is one of the things like we discussed, that it's sort of part of knowing how to sell. So it's personal sales skills. There is that advice, like if you want to grow yourself professionally, one of the skills that you should try to learn is sales skills, and it goes for a lot of people. So try just to sell your ideas, how you sell what you are trying to do. So as a product owner, you try to sell to the stakeholder what is needed, that you need that access, that you need to get to the end users and those people who will actually use the product. And then you just basically just need access, and then the usual agile principles. You deliver fast, you do short iterations, and try to get something useful as fast as possible to those end users, and work with them, get that feedback, and then do proper discovery. So it's in principle it's nothing different. It's just that the context is so different context, so it brings all new issues to deal with. So that part is challenging.
So that's an interesting topic, and we probably would continue and go on in expanding into the team, then into the team responsibilities, then maybe perhaps. So what are the expectations from clients? And I guess it's endless where we can go.
Not only that, but do you trust a situation where you put your team in a room with the actual end users, with maybe a stakeholder from their part? How do you handle a situation that should essentially be professional, quote unquote, and all those nuances with that? Because
apart from that, gentlemen, what are your expectations for the next things during the day within Agile Day Kaunas?
There is a KPI discussion going on after this, which I'd very much like to go to, because it's one that interests me a lot, of KPIs between teams. How do you compare two Agile teams on whether one is more performing than the other? That's always been a very dangerous, but also a very interesting topic of it also goes into I think just after lunch we had a discussion of when are you a Scrum Master? When does someone else consider you a Scrum Master? This is all in the same line of things of when do you think, based on what metrics is your Agile team performing, and then how do you start comparing that? So I'm actually very interested how that will go, because I'm curious if people are doing it, what they think about it, like what traps they're seeing.
So how we measure, what are the metrics, whether the
should
teams
we
are
measure stuff
successful,
in the
should we
first
measure,
place?
should we
Yeah.
compare, and that's indeed
Metrics in an
something
agile team
interesting.
is always a very dangerous but very interesting topic. So that's definitely one that I'm still looking forward to today. And then whatever Thomas comes up with as closing, because he usually finds something fun to do.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Definitely.
What about you, Raimundas?
I honestly I don't know what are the next topics. So I'm keeping it agile. I'm just gonna go check the board. So whatever draws my interest, I will go there. I'm sticking to the open space today. So I'm keeping it simple.
Fan of the open space.
Yeah, well, it's a very good format, and I liked the format last year, but I believe the topics are really way better this year. So I'm enjoying it much more this year, definitely.
That's really great. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here today and sharing the perspective of yours. It's as always interesting to have a chat, and see you next times.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.